Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is supported by Bayer Crop Science.
With respect to canola, one of the main things would be temperature. You've got to remember that if you're combining on a day that's 30 degrees outside, then the grain's going to be 30 degrees. So when you're storing in a bin, you've got to remember that it's going to be in there for a few months at least. So you've got these kernels that are coming in 30 degrees or plus temperature, and it's going to be in there during the winter when it's colder outside. So temperature is one of the things you have to keep in mind. Over the winter, there's a process of air movement that happens inside the bin, just from the cold air outside on the sides of the bin, which migrates into the warmer grain, and it'll actually create an airflow through the center. And what could happen, and mostly does happen, is grain, especially canola, can heat and actually spoil. So that's one thing that a person has to be, aware of, definitely. Most people think that, if you have a bin, you can fill it right to the lid, literally. We do not recommend that. Typically, you'd want to get it just to the eaves, okay? Because you're gonna have that cone in the center anyway, just from the grain piling in. That way, it leaves room for the bin to actually vent out the eaves and out the top as well. A lot of it, again, is basically conditioning. Because anytime you put a large amount of grain, which has moisture in it, in a large storage, like 50,000 bushels or 30,000 or whatever, the big thing is to monitor it. And we would, like, one of the industry standards is that as soon as you take grain off the field and you throw it in the bin, start aerating it right away to get that drying front moving and to cool it down. That's the big thing, because you've got so much grain there with moisture in it that it could overheat easily in the winter. So the big thing is just to keep an eye on it. I'm going to say, depending on the weather outside, of course, too, maybe weekly, maybe even monthly, depending on how the temperature changes outside. Yeah, we actually have guidelines for how many cables, what size and whatnot that can go in a bin. And just this year, Opie, for example, has a new cable out. It's a moisture cable. So you can get just a moisture cable, or you can get a combination temperature moisture cable. And that's what a lot of larger producers are putting in their bins now, just to, like I say, just to monitor it even better yet. One of the major problems that people face is fines or green, straw or whatnot, being in the canola especially, and that's where a lot of hot spots can break out. So basically, if you can somehow clean the grain, especially canola, before you actually put it in the bin, that's one of the best things to do. And then, like I say, as soon as you start filling the bin, turn on the fans and let the drying front to start moving through. The other thing is just even a visual. Like, a lot of times you'll be driving down the road in the winter and you'll see 4 bins with snow on the roof, and you'll see one that doesn't. Typically, that's a heated bin.
Is it too late by then?
It's not too late, but you'd want to act as fast as you can to unload the bin and rotate it or what you need to do to cool it down, basically.